The final Mr Olympia 2023 qualified competitor list. Lee Priest poses down with Guy Cisternino at 51, and why Brett Wilkin is out of the 2023 Mr Olympia, plus much more. What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another bodybuilding news video. I'm going to kick it off with an update from Sergio Oliva Jr. looking super impressive in these that he just posted up. Front double bicep is crazy, and I think if he can nail his best, in 2024 under the guidance of Neil Hill, and also he does have someone else in his corner to speak of as well, he's going to do very, very well. And this crab most muscular is absolutely wild, and some would say that's somewhat reminiscent of his father, Sergio Oliva Sr. And something on that as well, and Sergio definitely has respect for the greats of this sport. He's a historian of bodybuilding. He's working with Dorian Yates, so here's what he had to say in an interview with Sid Faruqi of RX Muscle.
As for the bodybuilding news of what you're speaking of, is Dorian Yates will be training me, and I don't even know what to say. It's kind of like a thing that happened on accident, and now it's the most exciting thing I think I've ever had happen.
So that's so cool that Sergio's so excited to be training with Dorian Yates, and why wouldn't you be? 6-time Mr. Olympia. He's known for his training. Everyone knows the blood and guts DVDs, and yeah, super exciting for Sergio. Under, being trained under a different guy in Dorian Yates and being coached under Neil Hill, who obviously famously coached Flex Lewis to, 7 212 or lightweight Mr. Olympia titles. I'm not sure if they were all 212 or if any of them were 202 back then. But yeah, this is super exciting for Sergio Jr. and I think he's going to do very, very well, and he's planning to compete at the 2024 Arnold Classic, as is this man, James Hollingshead. This was posted up by Milos Sarcev, and James is looking super thick, and this is very, very encouraging. And I think under the guidance of Milos, we've seen what he's done with Samson Dowda. I think that James Hollingshead is going to get back to his best, and maybe even better his best, which I believe was at that British Grand Prix that he did and looked absolutely insane. So very, very excited for James Hollingshead going into 2024, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Now, looking at the 2023 Mr. Olympia final qualified competitor list, it's a good one. It's a really good competitor list. It's not the amount of names that we saw last year. There's obviously some absent names there, like a Sergio Oliva Jr., like a James Hollingshead. Those guys will likely get to the 2024 Mr. Olympia stage. But let's go over the list. We've got Brett Wilkin, Hardy Chupin, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, Brandon Curry, Big Ramy, who will not see on stage, Samson Dowda, Baruz Tabani, who I believe still doesn't have a visa, so I don't believe we'll see him, Tonio Burton, Ross Flanagan, Ian Valier, who obviously is retired, so we won't see him, Mikhail Krizanek, Phil Klahar, Andrea Presti, Hassan Mustafa, Justin Shire, Roman Fritz, Hunter Labrada, Andrew Jack, Shinadu Andrew Abikia, Kamal El-Gagni, Nathan Diasha, Regan Grimes, Theo Laguerriere, and Charles Griffin. The last two obviously just qualifying this weekend gone. And the first name that I mentioned on that list as well is Brett Wilkin, who obviously has been on Bodybuilding University and who I've interviewed before as well. He's actually put out that he's not competing at the 2023 Mr. Olympia. So here's what Brett had to say on his IG.
With that being said, I will not be competing at the Mr. Olympia here in 4 weeks' time. Probably the hardest thing that I can say, because I've spent now it's been a year, preparing for this moment, this weekend coming ahead, and a huge goal of mine. As you know, I spent the last 8-9 years coming for this, and it kind of all fell apart on me. But
so that's super tough for Brett. I feel bad for him. He's such a good guy, and obviously just had a baby recently, so at least he can take a bit more time in the next few weeks where he would have been a bit more absent to spend with his child. But that is very, very tough, because obviously he competed late last year to get an early qualification for the Olympia, and it worked out with having a child, and everything seemed to be going to plan. But obviously the reason is, well, not obviously actually, because that might be why you're watching this video, it's because he has some gut issues. So he said he was vomiting 1 to 2 times a day, so he couldn't keep his food down properly. And when you're competing at the Mr. Olympia and you're prepping for that contest, especially in your debut, you don't want to have extra issues on top of just having to prep for that contest and making your debut on that huge stage. So if he was going through these major gut issues, vomiting 1 to 2 times a day, he's never going to be at his best. So I think the wise decision was the hardest decision for him, and that's to pull out of his contest prep. You know, he decided a couple of weeks ago and obviously just announced it to everyone now. So super, super tough news, but I'm sure Brett will be back next year, 2024. I'm sure he'll qualify for that Olympia if he does decide to compete next year, and his career will go on as planned because he's got a great physique, comes in great condition, and I think he's definitely, well, he's a guy that I was picking to be up in around that 10th spot at the 2023 Mr. Olympia, so who knows, he could get even higher than that in 2024. But I also wanted to show you guys some of these other competitor lists as well, because we've got the Classic Physique Olympia here, which it's still a really big lineup, but not as big as the 60 competitors or 59 or whatever that ended up standing on stage last year. Then we've got the men's physique lineup, and we see that's a little bit bigger again. And then we go to the bikini, which is 53 competitors. And for me, in my opinion, I think some of these lineups are a little too much, considering we're talking about the men's Open Olympia being a decent sized lineup, and we're going to have about 20 guys on stage. But 53, I think that's too much for one division. So whether they bring in a rule where you have to win 2 shows in a calendar year, or you have to get at least a first and 2 seconds, or win 2 shows, or something like that, where it does take away a bit where you win a show and you get the qualified for the Olympia, you know, presentation and all that sort of stuff. But I think just on making the Olympia the best of the best, I think 30 max per division would be ideal. So winning 2 shows, I think that would work out. You'd probably get about 25 bikini competitors on stage, I'm guessing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that they should have some sort of rule where some of these other divisions have less competitors? Because obviously it makes the shows go longer as well. We saw that at the Olympia last year where we had, you know, the bikini comes on and we've got 50 something competitors coming out and doing individuals. If each one takes 1 minute, that's 53 minutes just for that alone. So I don't know. I think something has to be done about it, but they've obviously changed things, you know, taken away the point system, and obviously it was a shorter year as well. So will we see 60 bikini competitors in 2024 if the rules remain the same? I think we probably will. So let me know what you think on that in the comments below. Now, after all that Olympia talk, we've got a few Olympia physique updates, and this is a different one. And this is Nick Walker literally bending over, but you get to see some crazy detail, and it shows that Nick Walker, while he is coming in bigger to the 2023 Mr. Olympia and considerably bigger, he is still bringing that crazy conditioning that he brings to the stage. So very, very exciting that we're seeing this level of conditioning. And we've got one here from Brandon Curry, 4 weeks out of Mr. Olympia. And I am super, super impressed. I think no doubt we're going to see a better package on stage this year than we saw last year at Mr. Olympia. And that was still good enough for 4th. So many people as well are predicting Brandon outside the top 5. I don't see that happening this year. Potentially it could happen. We could see him on stage and see, you know, a differential in the quads, and maybe they don't come in as crisp or as detailed as some of these other guys. And with other guys getting considerably better, maybe Brandon stays the same or just gets a little bit better, and maybe that's not enough anymore. But we'll have to wait and see. I think he could be right up there. And considering outside of last year, the 3 years prior to that, he was in the top 2 every year, he's definitely a solid competitor that shouldn't be overlooked. And now we've got some physique updates from guys that have competed at the Mr. Olympia, but definitely are not competing with Mr. Olympia this year, in Lee Priest and Guy Cisternino. Lee Priest is out there in the US. They do a bit of a leg comparison, and Lee Priest's legs are hairy. Guy's shaven, and Guy's in like contest shape right now. Lee's in pretty good shape himself. He showed his abs the other day, I think on an RX Muscle video. I'll try to get that and put that in here as well. But Guy looks crazy in terms of his legs. He could definitely step into like a Masters comp. Maybe his back is a little bit down and things like that, but I mean, Hidetani Yamagishi won the 212 Masters Olympia this year, so I think maybe, you know, next year or a year after, I think they're doing a Masters Olympia every second year, Guy could jump in there. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and obviously you can see the shirts coming off here, and it's pretty cool that I think Lee and Guy both do this, and Lee's looking damn good himself, because Guy is 41 years of age, I believe, and Lee's 51 years of age. So I mean, if I'm 51 years of age and look anything like Lee Priest, which I won't have that level of muscularity, obviously, but he looks damn impressive. I think if Lee, you know, really like started prepping and did things like that, like he did for that transformation challenge he did once again, and started to really push it. I mean, we know Lee doesn't do much in terms of, you know, PEDs or anything like that. He said, but he's taking, you know, a replacement dose of, you know, 1 mil a week. if he actually went hard and took things really serious, he could probably get absolutely crazy again because he looks damn good right here. But let me know what you think in the comments below about Lee Priest and how he's looking right now. And also, do you think Guy Cisternino should make a comeback to the Masters Olympia stage? Let me know your thoughts on all that, and let me know your thoughts of all the physique updates in this video. Also, the competitors list for the Mr Olympia, are they too big? Are they too small? How do we fix it? Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. If you did enjoy this video and appreciate the content, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. So for Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.